Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to case a swap card that I've got from one of my friends. And I don't know if you remember, but a month or so ago I was making my swap cards ready to send out to a Facebook group I belong to. And this is the card I made using the Come Sail Away paper. And one of the ladies sent me these two swap cards, and these were from my friend Steph, who lives in Ontario, and that's her little card. And she made this beautiful card with the unicorn on, and then this little dinosaur card. And I was intrigued by this because I just loved the way it opened. And this is what I've chosen to do for my final fold of this series. Now, I don't really know what this fold's called, and I haven't ever seen it before. So I didn't know what to look up or what to find it under. So for today, I'm calling it a top flap fold because it's got a flap at the top. But if you know what it's called, please just drop me a message and I can change the title. So I'm using the Sailing Home set and the Come Sail Away paper again, because I want to make a masculine card for a friend who's going through a little bit of a problem at the moment, and I want to send him a card. So this is the set I've chosen, and I'm going to case this card and use all of Steph's measurements, but I'm going to use different DSP and, oops, sorry little dinosaur, just bent your tail there. So different DSP and different stamps. So I will be using this during the video, but I am making it my own. So when I measured this, I thought it was going to be just a half piece of our paper, but it's actually just a bit narrower. Steph has got it cut at 4, and if we were doing a straight half of the piece of card, it would be 4 1/4, but it's cut at 4 by 11. So I've cut my piece of Night of Navy at 4 by 11, and you'll be really pleased to know that I found my blades for the trimmer. And you'll never guess where I found them. They were in the back. Oh, look at all that glue on there. I always keep some blades in here, like some of my old blades that I can cut glimmer paper with, and I keep a couple of spare scoring blades. And I dropped my trimmer earlier today and it fell on the front, and then I thought, there are all my new blades, look, with the little covers still on. So now that I've found them, I can cut in a straight line and not have feathery paper. So here's my first piece cut with it. Isn't it nice? Right, let's get to doing the scoring. So my piece of card is 4 by 11, and I'm going to score it at 2.5 and 6 3/4. So the 2.5 one is really easy. I'm just lining it up, 2.5 and scoring. Now the one for 6 3/4, I have to just put the little arm out. And sometimes it can be tricky just to see where the measurement is on this, because you've got this sort of gap here. And I know that the line in the middle of the gap is the 6.5, and that this next one here is going to be the 6 3/4. So I'm just going to go all the way along. Let's see. So 6.5, 6 3/4, and score there. Okay, and that's all we need that for at the moment. I don't know what I just got on there. Just see. It will have DSP over it, but just, there we go, it's gone now. Okay, so, and then I'm going to just fold on my scores like this, and this will make the basic shape. So there we have the shape, and I'm just going to use my bone folder. Let's get it and just go over those lines. Now, Steph used one of the new punches to punch this hole in here. I don't have that punch, but I'm going to use the Pretty Label punch. if your card is thicker than this, if you're using Whisper White, you will have to punch a hole and then put your DSP on and then punch the DSP. But because I think I can cut with my punch 2 layers and the DSP, I'm actually going to attach the DSP now and then cut the hole. So for my top flap of DSP, I've cut this piece from the Come Sail Away, and it's cut at 3 3/4 by 2 1/4, and that gives a nice little border all the way around. And I'm just going to attach that, and I want it so that little white stripe is at the bottom, so that when this folds over it will be the white that's at the bottom there. So just attach that there. And then I'm going to punch out the shape that we need. Okay, so I've got my pretty label punch. And what I did find when I was measuring was that on this size, you can, it's hard to see because I've got the navy here, but once it's under there, you can easily slip that in. And we're going to measure and line up sort of halfway across the punch. And you can see that there's just a nice sort of a centimetre, half an inch kind of gap at each side. So I'm just going to eyeball it so that I know it's fairly straight and that the left side and the right side look together. Oh. And then punch that piece out. Okay, so now when that piece goes up there, you can see that I'm going to have that gap there to put my little sentiment. And next, I'm going to put the next piece of DSP on, and it's going to go on this piece. So if you were looking at the whole thing, you've got the left-hand side and the right-hand side with DSP on, but no DSP in the middle. So this piece of DSP is cut again at 3 3/4, but by 4 this time. Now all the measurements are going to be on my blog. Move that one out of the way. I did say earlier this week that I don't have time to go over the measurements again on the video. So if you need the measurements, look at my blog, thecraftsbythebow.blogspot.com, and I'm going to add all the measurements there. Okay, so this is the piece, then I'm going to put it on, and I want these little black lines at the bottom. So I'm just going to, that works at the bottom, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm just going to add that. Okay, let's just check. Yeah, that's looking good. So the next thing that I noticed that Steph's done is put this, the little sentiment, in the same shape as the punch out. And so I'm going to use the Let Hope Be Your Anchor Through the Storms of Life. And I've already stamped it with Night of Navy, and I've cut it out as well with the punch. And you can see from Steph's that she's added it to this bottom layer, and she's only stuck it halfway on. So I'm going to do the same. Now, I don't know if it's better to sort of line it up like that so that you know it's in the middle of the punch and glue it on, or if there's a better way to do it. But for me, that's the way I'm going to do it. And I'm going to use Tombow so that if I need to move it a tiny bit, I can. So I'm only going to put glue on the very bottom of the sentiment, so just this half. And then if I need to move it, it's easy just to wiggle around with the Tombow on it. So I'm going to put it roughly at half. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit because I haven't quite got it at half. There we go. So when you open this, look, it opens nicely over the top. And I'm pretty sure that's how you must do it. It's not always easy when you're reverse engineering something, is it? But I think that's going to work. Yeah, okay. So the next thing Steph has is her dinosaur and her little backing piece. Now I wanted to use an anchor because it says about the anchor in the sentiment, and I wanted to use the lighthouse. So all I've done with the Night of Navy is I've stamped both of them, and then I've used the die cuts that come with the set as well. I did think about using this piece for my punch, but I wasn't quite sure whether I could put it through the big shot over so many layers and get it to come out really nicely. So I didn't even try that, to be fair. Okay, now these pieces, I want my lighthouse to go at the bottom left, and I want my anchor to be on show as well. And I don't want it to be hiding under the flap. So I'm going to attach this lighthouse first, and I'm going to attach it with dimensionals, but I'm only going to attach up to here. So sort of the top half needs attaching, and that's all. Excuse me while I just reach the dimensionals. And I'm just going to put sort of 3 on, I think. Let me just see, that's where I want. Yeah, that looks about the right size. I love getting cards that I haven't made before or that I haven't seen before, because I'm always intrigued as to how you make them. So it's one of those things that, let me just see, about there. It's one of those things that sort of intrigues me, and I like to know how they're made. So there we go. So when you lift that up, the whole of the lighthouse will lift up, but you won't see any adhesive or anything on the back. And then this one, again, I'm going to put it on at the bottom, but rather than dimensionals, I'm actually going to glue it onto the very bottom of the lighthouse, just like this. And I want it sort of on an angle, so that when I lift the top flap, it's coming up nicely as well. I could have it so it goes over the top flap a little bit. That would be nice, actually. I think I'll do that, and then I'll put some baker's twine on there. But I know I only need Tombow on this left-hand side of the anchor. So that's the only bit that's going to adhere. Okay. Okay. And then I will adhere a little bit of this once I've put the baker's twine on. So here's my baker's twine. Let me find my scissors. If you ever get a chance to join a swap club or swap with other demonstrators or friends, it's really, really a good idea, because you get all sorts of ideas, things you've never seen before, things you've never thought of before, things that are maybe not quite your style, but they might be style of the person you're sending a card to, or if you're having a group at home and making cards, it might be the sort of thing that those customers are interested in. So I always just love to see other people's ideas. I think it's really just because I'm nosy. Okay, so I'm going to cut that down a little bit. And then I'm thinking I could put a little bit of glue just at the back here to keep it on the card as well. Or I wonder if I could get a little piece of dimensional on, maybe. Let's try that. Maybe I'll just try half a dimensional. And as long as I can't see it, I'll be happy. I'm just going to turn it round, stick it on the very back, but underneath that baker's twine. Oh yeah, that looks like it'll fit. Sorry, it's a bit difficult just to show you on the video without me wiggling the card round. Take that tiny bit off. Okay, let's close that up. Oh, I like that. That's nice. And then you can still lift that top flap up. I did think about maybe putting one of the little dimensionals on, the little trinkets. I was going to put it up at the top, but then I thought it might just catch when I was trying to open and close it. But they would look really sweet on it as well. Okay, so that's our basic card made. The only other thing I want to do is to put a little piece on the back, and I just need to cut a piece of card. Oh, where did I put my white card? It disappeared. Oh, I can't see where it went. Let's get another piece. Oh, I see it now, it's on the floor, too far away to reach. So I've got another little piece of Whisper White, and I want it to go on here, and I know I'm going to have to cut this out. So I'm thinking I should just be able to cut it the same size as this DSP. So my DSP for there was 3 3/4 by 4. I'm going to cut this across at 3 3/4. And then by 4. Put that down again. And that should fit onto there, look. And I want to cut out the scallop shape. So I'm wondering, it might not give me the little border that I want. And I never thought of that. Let's see. No, I don't think it will. So I'll give it a try. So I'm just going to put it halfway across like we did on the blue. Snip that out. And let's see if we can get that to line up. Oh, if I put it down a little bit, look, it's nearly like having the whole of the border. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm sure there's a knack to doing that and working it out. I just haven't had to work it out before. So let me see which way I want it to go. That way. So let's open it again. And I'm going to put it on the back. And just leave that little tiny border all the way around. You know, if you did that with something like a layering oval or a layering rectangle, you could use the next size up to cut that. But I like that just as it is. You could stamp a little anchor on there, or one of the other images, but I just wanted a bit of space for my writing. And I have already stamped my envelope. So here's my envelope. And there's my little top flap fold card. So I hope you like that one. If you know what it's called, please send me a message so that, you know, I'm not just calling it a top flap fold when it has some proper name. And here's Stephanie's. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope you liked that. I really do like that. I think it's a very nice fold. And doesn't it make a cute little card? And so easy and quick. Okay. Well, thank you again. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.